Welcome to the Lead for Literacy Center's Explore the Elements video series. This video series is designed to assist leaders as they set up and implement a multi-tiered system of support in reading. In this introductory video of our series, we provide an overview of the Lead for Literacy framework. We introduce the 5 elements of the framework and begin to explore how these elements can help elementary school leaders improve teacher implementation of evidence-based literacy practices within an effective school-wide reading model. A viewing guide is available as a PDF file and can be used for note-taking and processing the information included in this video. Please be sure to have the guide accessible before proceeding. You will see web links related to content throughout this video as we identify resources related to the Lead for Literacy framework. All web links featured in the video will be listed at the end as a comprehensive reference. As you watch this video, please pause it as needed to complete the viewing guide. The Lead for Literacy Center, or L4L, is charged with building the capacity of leaders to recognize evidence-based literacy practices and to facilitate their implementation through identifying and supporting instruction and intervention, programming, and professional development, including coaching. At L4L, we're focused on research and evidence-based practices as mechanisms to ensure that literacy skills and concepts, as well as leadership skills, currently used in schools are proven to work. So what do we mean by evidence-based? Evidence-based literacy practices have been evaluated using rigorous research design, and there is evidence of positive effects. This means that curriculum programs have been rigorously evaluated as a whole, and that specific intervention programs or practices were found to have positive effects for the students receiving them. Our center resources and technical assistance services are designed to help school leaders navigate the process of evaluating, building, implementing, and sustaining evidence-based literacy practices within a comprehensive school-wide reading model. So how can the Lead for Literacy Center support your work? Although certification requirements vary by state, most administrators are not sufficiently trained in evidence-based literacy practices, which makes it difficult for them to adequately support teachers in this area. The Lead for Literacy framework elements and accompanying resources help school leaders develop a greater understanding of what students need to become successful readers. The framework guides leaders in creating more efficient teaming structures in schools, thereby increasing staff access to high-quality implementation resources, and strategies. This, in turn, can help school leaders and leadership teams better support teachers with implementing effective evidence-based literacy practices school-wide. Instructional leadership is central to L4L's mission and framework. Research shows that the most impactful leaders attend to multiple tasks that are oriented towards both the overall instructional and organizational management of the school. Instructional leaders take proactive steps to promote growth in student learning, while simultaneously encouraging continual professional learning among staff so that there is a collective responsibility for what students learn. An effective instructional leader makes instructional quality the top priority of the school and attempts to bring that vision to realization. While developing overall instructional leadership is an important goal, an effective literacy leader is charged with building, implementing, evaluating, and sustaining evidence-based literacy practices within a comprehensive school-wide reading model. A multi-tiered system of support is a critical component of an effective school-wide reading model. MTSS is a system of prevention for providing a range of services to students with varying levels of intensity based on their literacy needs. This includes students with or at risk for literacy-related learning disabilities. A well-designed multi-tiered system of support in reading, or MTSS-R system, consists of several elements that can help inform both the design and the delivery of school-wide instruction and intervention. Other areas of literacy, such as writing, can be integrated into the existing MTSS system for instructional support. For example, a leader would not need to create an entirely new system for writing instruction. Instead, schools can implement an integrated system of support that can address students' overall literacy needs to improve student outcomes. Universal screening for academic concerns helps to identify students who are potentially at risk for poor reading outcomes. Tiers of instruction are designed to offer the appropriate level of intensity of instruction for a student. When Tier 1 instruction, or the universal level of prevention, is effective, at least 80% of students are successful in meeting grade-level reading standards. According to data, 15% of students may require more targeted reading intervention at Tier 2 in order to meet grade-level reading standards. For example, if screening results suggest that a student is having difficulty with word-level reading, decoding, that student may receive an intervention focused on decoding as their Tier 2 support, in addition to the Tier 1 reading instruction they receive. If this additional targeted support is insufficient, or students have severe and persistent learning needs, 3 to 5% of students may need intensive intervention at Tier 3. Because an effective MTSS-R provides a structure of support for all students, students with disabilities receive services at all levels depending on their needs, as shown by the continuous arrow across all 3 tiers in this image. From a leadership perspective, all of this is important because leaders need to know if core instruction is meeting the needs of at least 80% of students in their schools. If it is not, they need to consider how best to improve the content and delivery of core instruction at each grade level or within individual classrooms. This is where the Lead for Literacy framework can help. A healthy MTSS-R system includes several crucial elements. This graphic shows the relationship between the 5 elements of the Lead for Literacy framework and a multi-tiered system of support in reading. The Lead for Literacy framework consists of 5 elements: standards, priorities, and goals, administration, organization, and communication, instruction and intervention at tiers 1, 2, and 3, assessments, and lastly, professional development and job-embedded collaborative learning. Standards, priorities, and goals provide a clear focus for a school-wide reading model, or MTSS-R. These standards, priorities, and goals are supported and reinforced by effective and efficient administration, organization, and communication processes, and result in high-quality instruction, intervention, and assessment practices. To sustain this model, effective school leaders offer job-embedded professional development opportunities that address each of these areas comprehensively. Together, these 5 elements reflect the knowledge, skills, and competencies needed to demonstrate effective literacy leadership within an MTSS-R system. Effective leaders understand the following 3 principles as a foundation for supporting literacy implementation in their schools. Literacy leaders know what are the priority reading skills. Also known as the simple view of reading, this involves understanding that children need reading instruction in the areas of decoding and comprehension. Across the research, it is also recommended that elementary students receive explicit, systematic instruction addressing 5 essential components of reading. Literacy leaders also know how to support teachers with implementing evidence-based literacy practices. Workshops, coaching, and professional learning communities can be leveraged to provide teachers with ongoing job-embedded support and feedback geared towards improving their practices. Finally, literacy leaders know how to evaluate, improve, monitor, and sustain an effective reading model. By creating a culture of continuous improvement, effective school leaders are always working with staff to make their multi-tiered systems of support in reading more efficient and effective for students. To fully operationalize these principles and support effective research-based reading instruction in their schools, effective literacy leaders do the following things. Literacy leaders recognize features of effective instructional delivery. When leaders prioritize spending time in classrooms, they recognize that how reading instruction is delivered is just as important as what is delivered. Effective reading instruction is delivered using high-leverage instructional practices, including explicit instruction, modeling, immediate corrective feedback, and checks for understanding, as well as systematic instruction, sequenced step-by-step instruction of skills from simple to more complex. Literacy leaders also make evidence-based literacy instruction a school-wide priority. Schools with a clear vision and mission for reading demonstrate understanding, alignment, and prioritization of evidence-based literacy practices among all staff. Finally, literacy leaders collect information and provide feedback on the content and delivery of literacy instruction. Classroom walkthroughs that are focused on lesson quality and integrity to evidence-based practices will give leaders valuable information about what's working or not working in their school. The Lead for Literacy framework and elements are designed to develop an administrator's ability to serve as an effective literacy leader. It increases their knowledge in effective reading instruction and assessment practices so they can help their teachers implement those practices. Lastly, it reinforces the notion that effective literacy leadership is not a single person's job. Effective literacy leaders guide teams in using best practices to address reading failure and success from a school-wide perspective. Let's turn now to an exploration of each of the 5 Lead for Literacy framework elements. In future videos, we will explore each element of the framework and their various components more in depth. On your viewing guide, you will find the following icons that correspond to each framework element. As you learn about each element, you can locate the relevant icon and record key takeaways under that section of your viewing guide. Standards, priorities, and goals. Effective school leaders make reading a school-wide priority as a result of ongoing standards alignment and goal-setting processes. Topics for this element include standards, prioritizing standards and initiatives, student goals, action planning, and communicating guiding principles. Schools that have a clear vision and mission for reading understand, align, and prioritize standards, priorities, and goals among all staff. Standards drive reading instruction and intervention and must be commonly understood by all reading teachers and support staff. To provide a strategic focus, effective school leaders prioritize the standards that are most relevant to student learning and align those standards with school initiatives. Once priority standards are established, they can be used to set a clear focus and purpose for reading instruction. Effective school-wide goals, as well as student and staff goals, are rooted in standards that focus on the essential elements of reading. Successfully implementing this element ensures that all teachers of reading are guided by common goals and a shared vision for reading instruction. Please pause for a moment and record your key takeaways from this element on your viewing guide. Administration, organization, and communication. Effective school leaders work continuously and strategically with staff and teams to improve literacy instruction and intervention within a multi-tiered system of support. Topics for this element include the reading knowledge base, reading systems implementation, school implementation teams, a coherent master schedule, high-quality staff and resources, leadership presence, and family communication and engagement. This element emphasizes strong instructional leadership and maintaining a focus on high-quality instruction with resources allocated to support reading. In guiding teams and teachers strategically through continuous improvement processes, this element reinforces the notion that leaders are learners too. Successfully implementing this element will improve organization and communication regarding reading programs and practices. Pause for a moment and record your key takeaways from this element on your viewing guide. Instruction and intervention at tiers 1, 2, and 3. Effective school leaders design school-wide reading systems so that high-quality instruction and intervention are delivered through the use of evidence-based literacy practices, programs, and materials. This involves setting an expectation that all staff who provide or support reading instruction understand the reading research base, which includes both the content that should be delivered as well as how it is taught. Topics for this element include instructional time, instructional quality, instructional adjustments, Tier 1 core instruction, Tier 2 intervention instruction, and Tier 3 intensified intervention instruction. Successfully implementing this element will strengthen the use of evidence-based practices for literacy instruction and intervention. Please pause for a moment and record your key takeaways from this element on your viewing guide. Assessments. Effective school leaders acknowledge and provide time and space for teams and teachers to make sense of various data and assessments. They guide teams in consistent decision-making processes that lead to action. Within a multi-tiered system of support, various assessment data are used to inform instruction in important, meaningful, and maintainable ways. Topics for this element include types of assessment, screening for reading, monitoring reading progress, data-based decision-making, and implementation data. Successfully implementing this element will promote school-wide assessment and analysis of reading achievement data, leading to improved teacher implementation of evidence-based literacy practices. Please pause for a moment and record your key takeaways from this element on your viewing guide. Professional development and job-embedded collaborative learning. Effective school leaders successfully promote and provide a range of professional development formats that are responsive to school-wide needs, including the workshops we typically think of as traditional professional development, as well as job-embedded learning through dynamic coaching with feedback, as well as professional learning communities. Topics for this element include high-quality professional development, job-embedded learning, coaching, professional learning collaboration, and professional development plans. Professional development is a strategy that schools and districts use to ensure that educators continue to strengthen their practice throughout their career. Professional development and job-embedded collaborative learning must be available, relevant, and ongoing to support reading, assessment, and instruction. High-quality professional development can lead to increased educator awareness and conceptual understanding of new reading concepts or strategies. It can also promote application and problem solving when information is applied to real classroom situations. As a result, educators can build and refine their skill sets and develop expertise with various reading instructional practices. School leaders play a key role in selecting, designing, and following through on professional development opportunities for all staff who teach reading. Successfully implementing this element will lead to more purposeful selection, design, and follow-through of professional development opportunities for all staff who teach reading. Please pause for a moment and record your key takeaways from this element on your viewing guide. The Lead for Literacy framework recognizes that leaders, by themselves, do not create and sustain comprehensive and effective school-wide reading systems. Teams are an integral part of this process. The Lead for Literacy Center recommends that school leaders establish and coordinate across 2 teams at a minimum. MTSS-R implementation teams in reading, or MTSS-R teams, are typically responsible for designing and coordinating a school's MTSS-R structures at the systems level, including the programs and processes used to identify students who may need additional intervention and support. MTSS-R implementation teams may also be responsible for creating school-wide literacy plans. Professional learning communities, or PLCs, are commonly used concurrently with MTSS-R teams. PLCs focus on instructional implementation of curriculum and strategies within each grade or classroom. Both MTSS-R teams and professional learning communities analyze data within each teaming structure to drive decisions related to instruction and intervention. Schools may already have these teams or teams similar to these in place. It's crucial for school teams to serve purposes similar to these, even if they are named differently. We encourage school teams to work collaboratively to evaluate and implement their MTSS-R structures and processes, with leadership coordinating these efforts to ensure the school-wide reading system is responsive to student needs. Our framework is designed to help schools do this. In this overview video, we spent time building initial knowledge about each of the Lead for Literacy framework elements. To wrap up, the Lead for Literacy Center can support your work in the following ways: increasing literacy knowledge, building more efficient teaming structures, and increasing access to high-quality implementation resources and strategies, all contributing to an increased capacity for leadership teams to recognize and improve teacher implementation of evidence-based literacy practices. As we conclude this video, take a moment to record 3 action steps that you will take on your viewing guide. How will you move this work forward in your district or school? What resources are worth sharing with your own school teams? We hope you enjoyed this overview video and that you will continue learning about each of the framework elements in your literacy leadership journey. From here, we hope you'll stay tuned for future videos in our Explore the Elements series. You can also check out our website and resource repository for tools and resources to support your implementation of the framework. And don't forget to follow the Lead for Literacy Center on social media. Thank you for taking the time to explore this element of the Lead for Literacy framework. We encourage you to watch other videos in this series to learn more about our framework and how it can help strengthen your school's multi-tiered system of support in reading. To find out more about the Lead for Literacy Center, you can visit our website at leadforliteracy.org and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. The Lead for Literacy Center is a collaboration between the University of Oregon's Center on Teaching and Learning and the American Institutes for Research. We are a partnership among literacy experts, education leaders, university researchers, and technical assistance providers, with funding from the United States Department of Education's Office of Special Education Programs. Our mission is to provide technical assistance to elementary school and district leaders that builds their capacity to improve teacher implementation of evidence-based literacy practices for educating students with, or at risk for, literacy-related disabilities. This video was produced under the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Special Education Programs. No official endorsement by the U.S. Department of Education of any product, commodity, service, or enterprise mentioned in this video is intended or should be inferred.